Hey folks, Alamanik, the Hot Rod Hippie here. This week's video, I'm going to be knocking some dents out of some panels. I'm going to show you the process as I go through this, so let's check it out. So first and foremost, this is not some crazy in-depth how-to science of dinging and bumping metal to knock dents out of your classic car or something like that. I actually had a package come in damaged recently. I'm building a new server rack, new server setup to store my video backups on, and the case came in damaged, pretty heavily damaged in some areas. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this damaged product and repair it. I'm gonna bring it back to a usable shape so I can assemble it, put it together, and still make use of it. I have a lot of video files. I've produced over 20 videos from SEMA alone, so I have a lot of backups that I need to get done, so I need to get this server up and running. I'm gonna go ahead and start working on these things, knocking dents out of them, show you how it is that I'm doing that, and discuss a little bit the finer points of why I'm doing what I'm doing while I'm doing it. So let's go ahead and get to it. The first step for me is protecting my ears with proper hearing protection. So I stick these in and we're ready to roll. Now the true first step is to assess your panels. You want to look over every panel and try and find all the damage that you're going to need to address. Usually I would circle and mark these different panels as needed. There's a lot of panels for this project, so I want to break them down panel by panel and focus on each one individually. I've identified a dent here in the panel. I'm going to back this up with a not quite flat dolly that's going to push up on that spot. So it's going to focus my efforts right on that spot. I'm using a slapper to spread out my strikes, so I'm not hammering right on directly on that spot, but the whole area surrounding it so that I'm pushing up that small dent. Now I'm making sure to stop frequently so I can check my work, make sure I'm not overworking the area. Now this corner has a pretty deep dent. It's got one point that's really clearly driven in. So the first step I need to do is to bring out that deep point. In this case, I'm going to do that by using a corking tool. I come from behind with a corking tool and just push it out. I could do this with a dolly by coming back there and smacking that area with the dolly, but this works out pretty nicely because I'm trying to preserve the finish. Now once I have this area in the corner knocked out, I need to go ahead and get in there with a flat dolly because this is a flat, crisp corner panel. I'm going to back up that area just to smooth out the dents, smooth out the little dings that are still there after driving out the bulk of the big, deep dent. Now this piece has a bow to the side of it. The entire side of this panel is bowed out. It should be flat, but it is not. It does have a flange, so it makes it hard to get in there and dolly this piece. So what I do is use off dolly hammering. I put the dolly against the flange, so I'm not striking directly where the dolly is. I'm pushing that flange out by hammering on the bowed out area and pushing with the dolly. Next I use this concrete breaking chisel that I've rounded off the tip of. I use this when I want to get into a corner. For this method, I'm going ahead and bending this panel around more because now it's kind of pushed out. It's not break bent as far as it should be. This allows me to keep a nice crisp corner. And again, this is basically off dolly hammering because that's supported in the corner and I'm hammering out at the end. Now this side is much straighter, no longer bowed out, though it is still pushed out. There's a tack weld here that broke, so I'm going to go ahead and fix that later. My next focus is going to be on this very small dent in the side of this panel. This larger corner as well, of course, but the small dent's what I'm going to show you right now. This is a very small concave dent, so I'm backing it up with a flat dolly in this instance because it's not a very deep dent, and I'm using very light glancing blows. I'm not hammering on this hard, I'm lightly tapping over and over again. So basically all you're seeing is a shine from where I was hammering. So now I'm combining a couple of the previous methods. I'm corking with this corking tool to push out the bulk of this corner damage, but you can see it's still flared out at the top of this panel. So I come in with a dolly, I get into the corner and I crisp up the corner just so I know that that's good and straight and flat. Now to actually repair this, I'm off dolly hammering. The dolly is in the middle of the panel where that flare out begins, but I'm hammering it at the top where the flare ends. Last but not least is the glass door on this. The glass is bonded in, so this poses quite a challenge. First, I use a hammer to go ahead and drive out that flange area because, again, I need to get the bulk of the damage pushed out. Then I back up with a regular flat dolly just to smooth it out. Very light blows because, well, this is glass. You can see here that corner is pushed in, but the glass overlaps that. There's nothing I can do in this instance. So like I said, this was not a complex, in-depth how to hammer and dolly, but I did want to show you a little bit of the process here as I repaired these panels, maybe give you some ideas about how you could tackle panels. So because of the nature of these panels, I can't go too in-depth with them. I don't want to damage the finish on them any more than it already is, because I don't want to have to repaint this whole setup. I did the best that I felt I could with my nicely faced off dollies and hammers. I always take care of these so they have a really good finish on them. That helps me to maintain the finish on these panels. I know this might seem out of place to you, but repairing these flat, cheap pieces of sheet metal for a server rack it's the same concept as repairing dents on a fender, a door, the flanges on your floor pan, whatever it is you might be working on in your auto restoration, your auto body project. I will absolutely have more specific projects coming up in the near future as far as repairing dents on fenders, on doors, things that you might more directly be able to apply to what it is you're working on. I hope you found this video interesting, folks. If you did, go ahead and drop a like down below. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of this? Is it silly that I repaired a server rack, a computer case on video? I had to do it anyway, so it only made sense to me to show you the process of doing it. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this every week. Well, maybe not so much this, but more content every week. Thanks for coming around, folks.